So, finishing up the rest of chapter 10, Arising as a Deity, the Tantric personality. Many people say the body is not really important. The most important thing is to meditate inwardly. But this is wrong. According to Tantra, we cannot say that the mind is more important than the body, and that the body is more important than the mind. They are of equal importance. In Tantric practice, the body is understood to be like a plot of ground containing untold mineral wealth. This body of ours, for all its suffering nature, contains the most valuable natural resource, Kundalini gold, Kundalini oil. At one time or another, we have all experienced sensations of great bodily bliss. Sometimes we are just sitting down relaxing, and suddenly a feeling of intense bliss will sweep over us. This experience is common and is not a particularly high realization, but it does give the hint of the great store of blissful energy contained within our body even at the present moment. The purpose of the various yogas, exercises, and meditations of highest Tantra is to arouse, control, and utilize this blissful energy resource for the attainment of complete fulfillment, the enlightenment of Buddhahood. For as long as you do not lose your head and can maintain mindfulness, it does not matter how much blissful pleasure you have. It does not matter whether you call this pleasure samsaric, worldly, or whatever. It can lead to liberation. The essence of Tantra is dealing skillfully with pleasure. The person who qualifies for Tantra is someone who can cope with pleasure, someone for whom dealing with pleasure becomes a conducive situation for achieving liberation. This is the Tantric personality. If a person only knows how to be miserable, then Tantra will not work for him or her. Like a nuclear reactor without any fuel, such a person has no resource to utilize for the necessary transformations. However, the resource of pleasure is already existent within this human body of ours. This is one major reason why this human form is considered so precious. What we need is a skillful method for awakening and then using this resource to bring perfect happiness not only to ourselves but to all others as well. In order to do this, we must learn to break the habit of relating to our experiences in life with a miserable mind, with our accustomed miserable projections. We should recognize that we create all human problems ourselves. We should not blame them on society. We should not blame our mother and father and our friends. We should not blame anyone else. Our problems are our own creation. But just as we are the creator of our own problems, we are also the creator of our own liberation. And everything that is necessary for attaining this blissful liberation is contained in the body and mind we have right at this very moment. Integrating wisdom and enjoyment. The purpose of generating ourselves as a deity through the practice of the three bodies, or kayas, of a Buddha is to smash through our self-pitying concept, our suffocating conception of ego. For it is this limiting conceptualization that prevents us from experiencing the explosion of blissful energy latent within our nervous system and thereby realizing our potential for full enlightenment. The wisdom of emptiness is blissful. It is very important that two elements, clear-sighted wisdom into the true nature of things and the feeling of joyful blissfulness, be unified in one experience. In the West, we can see that while so many young people are intelligent, they still experience very little or no joy in their lives. Being smart has not made them happy. Instead, many of them are totally disturbed. They can accomplish all sorts of feats, such as designing complex computer games, but because they lack the proper methods for integrating their intellect and their emotions, they remain dry, intellectual, sterile, and very dissatisfied. In contrast, there are other people who have a more practical ability to enjoy themselves, but many of them have no clear intelligence, no sharp penetrating awareness. Although they have a certain contentment in their lives, their minds are dull and plodding. Tantra tries to cultivate great wisdom, putting intelligence into practical experience, by unifying it with blissful heightened awareness. In this way, it is possible to integrate one's life and fulfill one's potential for happiness while eradicating all the problems normally associated with the pursuit of pleasure. For in this world, pleasure is a problem. For many affluent people, gross physical miseries such as hunger and disease are not really a significant problem at all. But how to deal with pleasure without becoming berserk and degenerate, that is a big unanswered question for them. The unified tantric experience offers the solution. It has already been mentioned several times that according to Tantra, the fundamental human problem is that when we have pleasure, we generally become more ignorant, more dark inside. This does not mean we should not have pleasure. We should have pleasure, but we need to keep from getting out of control while experiencing pleasure. We have to keep from falling under the influence of ignorance and delusion. So at this time we are learning how it is possible to experience incredible pleasure while remaining in a state of clarity and control. We are learning how the experience of pleasure can give us rise to clean, clear, penetrative wisdom. It is common for us to be possessive about what is happening to us. Even when we are successful in our meditations and feel the blissful Kundalini energy arising, there is a strong tendency to hold on to it tightly. This is my experience. It is mine. This is the habit we have to break somehow. We must learn to allow pleasurable experiences to happen without grabbing onto them as mine. We can accomplish this by unifying our mind with emptiness, with non-duality. Then when pleasure arises, it is as if it is being experienced somewhere out in space. It is difficult to express this in words, so I hope you don't have trouble understanding what I'm trying to say. Somehow we have to go beyond our normal habit of possessiveness, of relating everything to our limited sense of self. Perhaps I can make it a little clearer. Imagine that in front of you is a person, a man or a woman, whom you find extremely attractive. Just looking at this person arouses great energy in you. Maybe you want to reach out and grab him or her. Now imagine that this person suddenly dissolves into rainbow light, radiant and transparent. Automatically, all your heavy feelings of desire and possessiveness also dissolve, and in their place, something lighter, more buoyant arises. You still have some relationship with this beautiful object, but it has changed. You have let go of your grasping attitude and now experience something more spacious, more universal instead. It is such a light, blissful, yet intensely aware experience that I am talking about. This is what we are trying to cultivate.